What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another Kaspa video. Now, I know my camera is not on, and that is because I'm on a quick 2-day business trip, but I will be back Sunday with your regularly scheduled videos. But in today's video, I want to issue out a quick warning about what is happening with Kaspa, because I am getting some warning flags, some red indicators that say that a pullback to the downside, and a pretty substantial one, could be on the way. Now, what we're going to start off with first is what is happening in the more micro, what has been happening over the last month and a half or so, and why I do believe that this could be rather bearish. Well, of course, what we talked about in the last video was the fact that we came up and established a key level of liquidity, a key level of resistance right around this 0.052 level. I told you all that the 5-cent level was a strong psychological level, and a ton of people were going to sell here simply for the fact that it's 5 cents, and that's the only reason why. 5 cents isn't really a strong liquidity level. It's not really a key level of resistance in any fashion in terms of the Fibonacci's. It's just a psychological thing. Now, as we can see here, as we got around that 5-cent level, we got this first peak, and then of course we got the pullback towards 0.043, which makes a lot of sense, right? We backtest this key level of resistance. This is a point in which we really broke out of and then continued upside. So of course this was a key level of support that we could expect. Now, from this key level of support, we got to bounce back up towards the upside to attempt to re-clear 5 cents again, but we struggled, now pulling back to the downside. Now, as we have done this, and as we have now established this second peak or the second level of resistance, looking at our daily chart prime oscillator, we are now starting to get some rather bearish indications. Of course, on that first move to the upside, we did get a little bit overextended. I mean, even your Bollinger Bands can show that. We pushed outside this Bollinger Band twice on this occasion, and typically when that happens, your overall chart itself, your overall price, is likely in a phase in which it needs to cool down soon. So the fact that our daily chart prime oscillator was flashing an overbought reading with a red reversal triangle, this bearish momentum dot, this blue peak finder, all of that was a pretty telltale sign, like, okay, a slowdown is probably on the way. But what happened is that as we have slowed down and as we have kind of reset a little bit, when we put in this second peak, we got a major drive of bearish divergence here. When Kaspa puts in drives of bearish divergence on the daily charts, it is a key indicator that some type of pullback is most likely on the way. There have been a few occasions where this wasn't the case yet, but most occasions this is what happens. We use this one for example. We put in high number 1, we put in high number 2 on this chart prime oscillator. We put in high number 1, we put in high number 2. As we got this bearish divergence, that was the peak, and then we got this, huge crash to the downside, in which Kaspa's price fell. What was this? About 36-37%. Now, I'm not saying that size of a pullback is on the way, but it is something we need to be mindful of. We did just get this second drive. We just got this level of bearish divergence here, which goes to show that this is a very, very weak attempt at clearing this key point of resistance, and some type of pullback is more likely than not. Now, when we look at this from a structural perspective, we can also see something pretty clear here. Whenever you put in a key level of resistance, you go down to a key point of support, and then you come back up to retest that same key level of resistance, then getting a rejection, you put in what many people would consider this to be a double top or a M top. Now, just like you would assume, an M top looks something like this, in which you establish this peak, you establish the mid-level of support, and then another peak. And if you know anything about these M tops, the most important level absolutely ever with these things is this MLS, or this mid-level of support, the point in which your two peaks created a valley. Now, at this given point, our MLS is at 0.043, or right above 4 cents. And what I would go ahead and say is that if we come back down at this given point and lose 0.43, we're probably in a position in which we will see Kaspa's price revisit sub 4 cents, maybe even back to 0.35, and who knows, maybe break out from this channel that it's been in for the last year and a half. Okay, so that's why it is so important, and that's why I'm issuing such a major warning for Kaspa right now, that at this given point, if something doesn't change and we do continue to the downside, you need to watch continuously, extremely closely and continuously, because the loss of support here could be rather implicative that a more major severe crash to the downside could be on the way. Okay, so watch this extremely closely. I do still hold the position that if we do get a break above 5.2 and we hold support here, we easily could see Kas starting to work its way back up to the 7-8 cent level. I do hold that to be true, but whenever you see indicators flashing saying, listen, a pullback is on the way, you absolutely cannot ignore them. Okay, so I will continue to update you as we are in this range. If you want to simplify today's video, think about it in this way. If we break 5.2 to the upside, we're probably heading towards 7 cents. If we break 4.3 to the downside, we're probably heading to 3 to 3.5 cents. And if you want to base your trades off of that, that's a rather easy way to go about it. But if you do want to get more in detail and in depth with what is happening here, especially with your indicators and your overall structural analysis, I will continue to update you as Kaspa does play out. So just make sure that you press subscribe so that you don't miss that video. With that in mind, I will update you in a couple of days as we do get closer and closer to a breakout to one of these things happening. So make sure you stay tuned for that video, and I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.